Hello, hello, hello. It's Courageous Casey Love. The old me was Casey Fight. So today, this is day 3 of my Courageous ministry. And I'm going to try to keep it shorter. It's been about 10 minutes the last few days. But the thing I wanted to chat with you about tonight or share or hear your thoughts on is belief. And I'm really curious to find out and ask you to ask yourself, like, where do your beliefs come from? Are they yours? Are they from your family? Are they from, your conditioning, your childhood, your schools, your faith? Where do they come from, really? And I feel like I shared, I think it was last night, that I just feel like there's so much judgment going on in the world right now. And that really can come from us having strong beliefs that this is right. And if somebody's right, then somebody has to be wrong. Do you agree with that? Like, I'd rather have peace than be right. And we're a huge world. Like, now that we're connected through the internet, like, this is the age of knowledge, not just technology, but we can connect with anyone, especially we've learned during this time. That we have the opportunity to challenge our beliefs or to look at our beliefs, because often our beliefs are limiting, right? Limiting beliefs are that it's one way. And maybe it is for you, but it's not for somebody else, because again, we live in this wide world. I mean, we're all across the globe and people are experiencing so many different aspects of life and even next door to each other. So, I decided to look up in the dictionary, like, what does belief mean? And of course, even with the dictionaries, there's lots of different definitions. And what I found is that there's a feeling of absolute certainty in something, or an opinion, or a conviction, confidence, faith, trust. And, again, these are all opinions because we all have minds that make things up and create kind of a point of view, so to speak. And as you know, right now in the world, we're so polarized. It's the Republicans and the Democrats, and of course, there's a lot of people in the middle. But then there's, there all lives matter, Black Lives Matter. That, like, we have a million different beliefs, and what if we can just honor all of our beliefs, or what if we look at our own beliefs? And here's my litmus test: is this belief helpful or hurtful to myself and to others? So maybe it's helpful to me, but if it's hurting somebody else, and if we're all one, if we're all connected, we're living in this space on this planet, in this community together, if something's helpful for me but hurting you, how is that a good belief? It's not. And I really believe that I said believe, right? I have a belief very strongly, yes, that communication, that we can work to understand each other's beliefs, and how can we work together in a way that works for everybody. And I know that's not easy whatsoever. It takes a lot of dialogue and time, but we have a lot to unpack from our past, from our history, from our ancestors, because 100 years ago, think about 100 years ago, barely had electricity. Well, we didn't. And again, I'm not good with facts. So, yes, we have had so much change in the last 100 years. So things that were in place then make no sense now, right? So we can challenge our beliefs and think about that. Is it helpful or is it hurtful? So I don't know about you, but I just really believe in expanding my beliefs. And coming into this world, I hated everyone and everything. That was my belief, that it was all horrible. So I have had a lot of beliefs to unpack and uncover and change. And I really went from hate to love. And again, that's part of my intention of doing these, is I'm working on feeling more comfortable. This is fear showing up for me, and you may not see it, but I'm stepping into it. I'm being courageous, because to me, courage is like acting in spite of fear. And I'm constantly looking at my beliefs and, what I say and what I do, and asking, is this serving me? Is this serving others? Is this serving the whole? And how can I how can I work through that? I'm taking a Buddhism class right now. I'm getting my master's in consciousness studies. And so it's a combination of leadership classes, education, religion, psychology. And so, I'd studied Buddhism a little bit in the past as well. And it's very much about the middle way. It's like, and I come from, I have substance abuse history. I have 30 years of drug and alcohol abuse, but I also have, I'm coming up here in a few weeks on 18 years of recovery. So like I have very well lived this all or nothing. And the middle way, it's like, how can I be in the middle? How can I not be so triggered by everything? But if I am, how can I look at that and see what is that limiting belief that's showing up for me? So one last thing I just want to say about this is another expression I thought of with this is often, I know I used to say it like ignorance is bliss, right? But ignorance is a lack of learning or knowledge or understanding, right? And often ignorance is bliss is actually hurting somebody else. And for me, I particularly think that that's the situation right now with Black Lives Matter and white fragility. I just did a book club and listened to the audiobook of white fragility and, white privilege. Like that ignorance and I admit I am not perfect. I'm sure I have some more beliefs that I need to unpack and look at because it's systemic. But that ignorance is bliss is not. It's not bliss. It's denial. It's hurtful to other people. So I think at this point in life, there's no excuse for not learning and growing. We live in the age of the internet. And I've been on the internet for about 20 years doing different online products for my businesses and learning. There's so much out on the internet for free. And of course, there's so much more that you can pay and you can join and follow people that you admire and that you want to learn from. But there's no excuse to not learn and grow because that's where we're going. And I've been in education and working with kids. I have a daughter, they are our future and they are so open. And if we're not, it's not going to serve us. Like we also need to help serve the children, our children for the future. And they are learning and they are growing and they don't need us. You know what I mean? They've got the internet. So they're going to do it their own way. So this is, again, I think it's so powerful that we need to look at our beliefs. So I feel like I'm going on a little bit too much here. So I'm going to wrap it up, but I want to thank you so much for listening. Drop a comment. I'd love to stay in touch. I'd love to hear what is a belief that you're working on? What are you working on changing or shifting or learning about? I know for me, a big one is money. I spent the day today working on my taxes. That they're not done. I'm still going. But I was listening to Tony Robbins. You probably hear me talk about him a lot. Just learning more and more about money because that's an area where I have a lot of work. And I've done a lot of work on limiting beliefs. I used to think that money didn't grow on trees. Well, maybe it does. I do have a money tree in my house. So there's a lot to work on. If we don't have what we want in our lives, there's probably a limiting belief there holding us back. So happy Saturday night or whenever you're watching this. I hope that you are doing well. Take care of yourself. Be compassionate, empathetic, and loving to yourself and to others. And have a great moment. Namaste. And play.